that we are under no illusion that as a House we can resolve everything that we are being asked to resolve as a leadership of a country. Number two is that it is not everything that can be addressed immediately. But listening to most colleagues, Mr. Speaker, they divided their proposed solution almost into three parts. There are those that are immediate, there are those that are for the medium term, and there are those that are for the long term, Mr. Speaker, insofar as fostering a prosperous nation is concerned. And that's the nature of life. It's impossible, Mr. Speaker, to achieve change or the absolucy of, Mr. Speaker, a prosperous society in one instance. But there must be a beginning. And I must say, Mr. Speaker, that this is a good beginning. This is where we want to start, Mr. Speaker, because it begins with an appreciation that we are at fault and there are things that we need to set right. Various leaders, Mr. Speaker, have since added their voice on how the nation can walk itself out of the crisis that we find themselves in. I have, for example, seen, Mr. Speaker, and it would make sense to confess this, that when we sat as a leadership to consult on the bipartisan nature of this motion, the leadership from the minority side asked us to take the preconditions for engagement that had been listed by the leader of the Azimio coalition, Mr. Speaker, in good stride, and appreciate that he means well for the nation. And he feels that taking into consideration the things that have so far now been listed as amended in the amended motion, compensation of victims, acceptance and acknowledgement that their lives have been lost unnecessarily, persecution of those that have been involved in brutality, and so on and so forth, will be a good place to start. And I want to appreciate, Mr. Speaker, that that has made its way finally into the motion. Then subsequently, there are things that we'll have to do. And let nobody be under the illusion that it will be an easy journey, Mr. Speaker. If you have been involved in leadership, Mr. Speaker, I think, I'm not certain who spoke these words, but they said if you want to please everybody, don't get involved in leadership. Sell ice cream. That's the only job that you can do on earth and everybody will be happy with you. But so long as you're in leadership, there are certain difficult decisions that sometimes you'll have to make and not everybody will appreciate and celebrate you for. But the job has to be done. That job, Mr. Speaker, has befallen on us as 67 senators in this House, Mr. Speaker. We have a duty, and there's something that we can do, Mr. Speaker, to right the wrongs of the last 60 years in this republic. Mr. Speaker, we also appreciate and we know that on our own, first of all, being one of the unicameral units, of the bicameral units of Parliament in this House, Mr. Speaker, that we need our colleagues in the National Assembly to support us as well. Because the truth of the matter, much as when many of our colleagues were speaking, they may have cast aspersions and said certain things about the National Assembly, a legislation that has been passed by Senate alone is only good ink on paper. It cannot be law. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the National Assembly remains to be an integral partner, Mr. Speaker, especially in resolving issues that we have been addressed and that we are aware that can only be solved through the legislative arm of government, Mr. Speaker.